so much left to time to Hey, we are finally back online. I think it's been about 4 months now. Sorry, I had to take some time to pack up all my crap and move it across the big pond, aka the Atlantic Ocean. Yes, that's right, I no longer reside in Europe. I live in the United States now, aka Trumpland. What we're doing now, I picked up a Korg ARP Odyssey, and last weekend I started playing with it, trying to record another song, a one synth song, and I was determined to use the Korg ARP Odyssey for most of the percussion drum sounds. I ended up using it for all of the percussion drum sounds, which was cool. And I programmed a bunch of stuff. I sampled it into Red Drum, sorry, I call it Red Drum also, and Propeller Head Reason, and it came out very decent. I was surprised. So I thought, after I finished the song, what the heck, let's do a small tutorial, tidbits and tips, showing how I programmed the drum sounds in this classic style mono synth. And by the way, I'm super impressed with the Korg ARP Odyssey. I don't think I realized that there's a lot of classic stuff from the 70s that I couldn't really get that sound until now, because people were using ARPs, 2600s or Odysseys or whatever. The three filter options are extremely sweet. Thank you so much, Korg, for reissuing this thing. And thank you, ARP, for cooperating and all that stuff. So anyway, here is, again, a tutorial on how to program some drum sounds on your Korg ARP Odyssey. I am drinking, and I guess I'm halfway through with it, in my Zildjian pint glass, a New Belgium triple. New Belgium is a company here in the States, a brewery that tries to emulate some of the Belgian beers, and they do a decent job with this. I'm kind of surprised. So anyway, wherever you're doing, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, enjoy your synth. Hopefully you can program some cool stuff if you have an ARP Odyssey, and cheers. Hey, quick overview, small tutorial, tidbits and tips, whatever, how to get percussion sounds out of the awesome Korg ARP Odyssey module. Or, I guess, the miniature one with keys, or the full-size one with keys, or whatever. And I was super happy when they came out with the module, so I got it. So anyway, this is the sound. Basic drum sound. And I kind of came up with it on the fly last weekend when I was writing this song, because I wanted all the percussion and drums to be from the ARP Odyssey. So it took a little bit of experimentation, but I actually came up with it quicker last weekend than I did sitting back down today trying to come up with it. So let's dive right in. First thing you really need, you need a little bit of sound, and the ARP Odyssey, the layout is unique for synths. Most synths follow that classic kind of Moog oscillator, filter, amplifier section. And you actually control the amount or the amplitude of the two oscillators over here in the audio mixer section. So what you're going to do is crank up, okay, per how I do it, crank up VCO2. You can try either a saw wave or the square wave, pulse width wave. I don't think it makes a massive difference. And so let's just listen to it all by itself. That combined with the noise is going to be the basic foundation of the drum sound. Now you can tell that's a boo. It's not a fixed pitch. It's a plummeting pitch, and what's actually letting that pitch drop, setting an interval and dropping, is the ADSR, the envelope, attack, decay, sustain, release. The envelope is routed to the what it says FM, which is frequency modulation, but basically the pitch. So you hear quick attack on the envelope, a little bit of decay, mid-range, no sustain, and about mid-release. That way when you strike the key, it's still got follow-through like a drum. Now you can affect how much, kind of that drum sound that it makes with the falling pitch. Again, we have no oscillator 1. Let's add in some noise. So, again, quick summary. The ADSR, the envelope, affects the pitch of voltage-controlled oscillator number 2. You mix it in here. Again, doesn't sound drastically different with either a sawtooth wave or pulse wave. This is the sawtooth wave. Pulse wave or square wave. Well, it does sound a little different. Actually, it sounds better with the square wave. Let's leave it that way. You've got the 3 different filter types. You can experiment with that. Filter setting number 2 is, for me, seems to be more than most, kind of more normal drum sound, as much as you can get with this. Filter 3 has a lot sharper resonance, so you can get a lot more of the synth drum sound. Cranking up the resonance, bring it back down. We switched it back to filter 2. And again, the VCF frequency. Affects how bright it is. And that's not bad at all. I was very impressed when I was able to get something like that. So, very cool. Now what you can do for kick drums, I was playing with this literally before I started the video because I didn't really come up with a really good kick drum or a better kick drum that I wanted for the song I recorded last weekend. So kick drums don't usually have the trailing release. So you bring this down and the decay, make them short and tight, more like a kick drum. You can bring down the filter frequency. And you're starting to get something more like that. For you folks liking that resonance snap, you can add some of that. Then the other thing you can do for the kick drum is, and again, notice, I guess the pitch. You can control this pretty much, or change the overall tonal quality by changing the pitch of the oscillator that's dropping. It's really like tuning a drum, basically. Okay, where was I here? You can also then, for a kick drum, you can bring in the second oscillator. Now this is going to be a pitched oscillator, but if you make it low enough, it kind of adds to the whole. Now let's just listen to that by itself. It may be too low. Okay, see that right there? Bring back in the VCO2, the noise. And again, that adds to the bottom end just a little bit on the kick. Now you can also crank on the drive here, that adds to it a little bit, makes it a little louder. That's a great sound. And let's see. So once again, you can control the basic pitch, VCO1, that's not being modulated. And kind of like tuning drums, if for any of you folks out there who play drums or have worked with them, you kind of find the sweet spot, the sweet pitch for whatever you want it to sit in on the track or the song. Okay, very cool. Now we're going to try and do the metallic sounds that I did before. I'm going to wing this. So we're going to take the noise off. Actually, we're going to switch the noise to ring modulation. And these are the two options. Unfortunately, you can't have ring modulation and noise, because that would have made a great, really cymbal splash if I'd been able to do it. But no luck. So let's kill the modulation on, or maybe we can. Hold on here, so kill that. We want to there we go. So now we're getting into metallic territory. Let's turn the drive off for now. Let's kill the portamento. Now, if you get that high enough, this might suffice for a closed hat, you know? Let's change some qualities here. It's a little too nice. So again, we've got both oscillators up, 1 and 2. We're playing in a higher octave, and then the coarse tuning for the second one goes a little higher. Usually to help provide a little more of that metallic sound. Okay, let's see if there's something else we can do on this that might make it a little more interesting. If the LFO went fast enough, it could probably add a little more shimmering quality to that, but it can't really. So, wow, I'm learning as I'm going. With the ring modulation on, these two are already ring modulating each other. You don't even need to bring up the VCO. You don't need to bring up the VCO1, VCO2 settings. Okay, let's bring that LFO back down because it's not really helping. Okay, you get some cool sound effects, but... And maybe I could try a sample and hold if I got that set up. Anyway, I'll keep this short. Hopefully you learned something about making a drum sound with the ARP Odyssey. Great synth. I am very impressed with this, much more than I thought I would be. One, as I've already kind of talked about, I just really love the hands-on control. In a way, you lose the spontaneity when you're menu diving too much. That being said, if I'm singing and playing in a gig with a band, I want some presets, because trying to do this while I'm singing, because I'm primarily a singer, doesn't work so well. But I love it for screwing around with at home. So anyway, there you go. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, enjoy your synth. Cheers.